Hello, dearest viewers. I hope you're cozy wherever you are, because today I'm going to share a story from my own life. A story so strange, so mysterious, that even I sometimes can't believe it happened. But before I begin, if you enjoy stories full of wonder, secrets, and a little bit of mystery, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Grandma Stories Studio, and share it with your family and friends. I promise you, this is a story worth telling and worth remembering. It all started one chilly December afternoon in my little home in Vermont. I was dusting through some old drawers, the ones filled with forgotten letters, childhood trinkets, and memories you thought were lost forever. That's when I found it, a Christmas card that I hadn't seen in decades. The envelope was yellowed with age, and the handwriting looked almost familiar, yet distant, like a ghost from my past. Now you might be thinking, Grandma, it's just a card. But this wasn't just any card. As I opened it, I realized it contained something strange, almost prophetic. Tiny drawings, cryptic messages, and notes that seemed completely ordinary at first, but as I read, my heart skipped a beat. Some of the things written in that card had already come true in my family's life, events I never told anyone about, moments I thought were private, secrets only the stars could have known. And I realized as I held that card trembling in my hands that the story it contained wasn't finished. The mysteries inside were far from over, and over the years they would continue to unfold in ways I could never have imagined. So sit back, grab a warm cup of cocoa, and join me as I unravel the story of the Christmas card that predicted my family's future. It was a snowy day in December, and the wind howled softly outside my little Vermont home. I was going through a drawer I hadn't opened in years, a drawer filled with forgotten letters, photographs, and holiday cards from my family and friends. That's when I found it, a Christmas card that I hadn't seen in decades. The envelope was worn and yellowed, and the handwriting was elegant, almost like someone had taken extra care to write each letter perfectly. I paused, trying to remember who it could have been from. The card had no return address, which only added to the mystery. I carefully opened it. Inside, there were hand-drawn sketches of Christmas trees, snowflakes, and small houses. But then I noticed something unusual. Tiny notes written along the margins, almost like a diary in miniature. At first, I thought they were just whimsical messages, reminders, little jokes, or old family references. But as I read them carefully, my heart skipped a beat. The card mentioned events that had already happened in my life and my family's life, things that no one else could have known. There was a note about my granddaughter Emily losing her first tooth, a reference to my husband Jack's promotion at work, even a mention of a snowstorm that had trapped us at home one Christmas. I rubbed my eyes, certain I was seeing things, but the details were too specific, too precise. I felt a chill run down my spine. Could it be possible that this card somehow predicted the future? I set the card aside for a moment and tried to shake off the feeling, but deep down I knew this was just the beginning. Something about this card was calling to me, urging me to uncover its secrets. And as I stared at it on the table, I knew that my life and my family's lives were about to be intertwined with this mysterious card in ways I could never have imagined. Over the next few days, I kept the card in a safe spot on my kitchen table, occasionally glancing at it while I made tea or baked cookies. At first, I told myself it was a coincidence. Maybe I had simply remembered things and connected them to the messages in the card. But then something happened that I could not explain. One evening, Emily, my youngest granddaughter, came running into the kitchen with tears in her eyes. She had a small gift in her hand, a snow globe she had found in a thrift store. I froze when I saw it because the card contained a tiny sketch of that exact snow globe, down to the miniature painted tree inside. I asked her where she got it, and she shrugged, saying, "I just liked it, Grandma." I felt my pulse quicken. The chances of this being mere coincidence were vanishing fast. My husband, Jack, laughed when I tried to show him the card, insisting it was probably just a strange coincidence. But I couldn't let it go. Something about the card demanded attention. It wanted me to notice patterns, to follow clues. As the days passed, more predictions seemed to come true in subtle ways. A neighbor mentioned a long-lost dog that had returned after years, which was drawn in the card. A package I had been expecting arrived exactly as the card had illustrated it. Every little detail seemed connected, as though the card was alive in some mysterious way. I began to document everything, each event that seemed to mirror the card's drawings or messages. And that's when I realized the card wasn't just a piece of paper, it was a puzzle, a guide, and perhaps a warning. Something about it hinted that the future could be predicted and perhaps even changed if one paid attention. And I knew then that this Christmas card was going to show me secrets about my family that I could never have anticipated, secrets that would test my courage, my memories, and my trust in the people I loved most. As December deepened, the air crisp with snow, I couldn't shake the feeling that the card was more than just a curiosity. I started noticing more coincidences that chilled me to the bone. One morning, I went to check the mailbox and found a small envelope addressed to me with no return address. Inside was a drawing that exactly matched a doodle on the mysterious Christmas card, a little snow-covered bridge. I remembered writing about this bridge in my diary decades ago, describing it as the place where Jack had proposed to me. How could the card have known that? Then came the phone call that truly startled me. My daughter, Karen, mentioned a sudden work transfer to a city we hadn't spoken about in years. When I rushed to check the card, there it was, a tiny, almost imperceptible sketch of a city skyline. My hands shook as I realized that the card was documenting events even as they were unfolding. I tried to rationalize it. Perhaps I had unknowingly remembered the card's contents over the years, or maybe it was all coincidence. But the specificity of the drawings and the messages, along with the timing of events, made it impossible to ignore. Each prediction, each subtle sketch seemed to guide me, drawing a map of my family's lives in a way that felt almost supernatural. Even my grandchildren began to sense the oddness of it. Emily, curious as ever, kept asking me why I spent so much time staring at the card. She didn't understand that it wasn't just a card, it was a mystery, one that held pieces of our past, our present, and perhaps even our future. I decided I had to take notes. Every detail, every sketch, every cryptic phrase had to be recorded. I started keeping a small journal beside the card, meticulously writing down each coincidence, each connection. It felt like I was piecing together a puzzle that had been in motion long before I even realized it existed. As I closed my notebook that evening, the snow falling softly outside, I felt a mix of fear and awe. Something extraordinary was happening, and I had no idea where it would lead. But deep inside, I knew this was only the beginning. The card had more to show me, and more surprises yet to unfold. One cold December night, as I sipped tea by the fireplace, I noticed a new message on the card, something I hadn't seen before. Faint, almost hidden in the corner, was a warning. Watch the ones you trust most. My heart skipped a beat. At first, I thought it was just my imagination, but the next day, something unsettling happened. I overheard a conversation between Karen and her coworker about a secret she hadn't shared with the family. It was minor at first, but when I compared it to the card's note, I couldn't deny the chilling parallel. The card seemed to know things that hadn't yet fully happened. Small truths, subtle warnings, secrets that would soon surface. My mind raced. Was it possible that this card could predict both joyous events and cautionary ones? Could it warn me about dangers, even the tiniest betrayals, before they happened? I decided I had to observe my family more closely. I watched Jack, noticing little quirks and habits I had taken for granted over the years. I watched Emily and my older grandchildren, sensing patterns and connections I had never noticed. Every interaction seemed significant now, every word loaded with meaning. Yet, even with all my vigilance, confusion and doubt gnawed at me. I questioned whether I was reading too much into it, letting fear and curiosity cloud my judgment. And yet, each time I tried to set the card aside, I felt a strange tug, almost like it was calling me back, urging me to notice more, to understand more. That night, I placed the card on the mantel and stared at it under the flickering firelight. The message, "Watch the ones you trust most," seemed to glow, almost alive. I didn't know what it meant fully, but I knew this Christmas would be unlike any other. The card had more than memories to show me. It had warnings, guidance, and secrets waiting to be revealed. The next morning, I rummaged through old family albums, letters, and forgotten keepsakes. Something inside me told me that the card's mysteries were tied not just to the future, but also to our past. I came across a photograph of my great-aunt Margaret, a woman I barely knew, but who had been a central figure in family lore. In the photo, she held a card in her hands that looked eerily similar to the one I had found, and on the back, in tiny, careful script, was a note. "Some secrets are meant to guide." It was then I realized this card wasn't unique to me. Perhaps it had been passed down from generation to generation, carrying clues, predictions, and hidden guidance for those who could read it. I felt a shiver of awe and fear. Could it be that my ancestors had known of this card's power? That the card had shaped our family's path long before I was born? I shared my discovery with Jack, cautiously, not wanting to alarm the grandchildren. He chuckled nervously at first, but I could see the tension in his eyes. Even he had to admit there was something extraordinary here. With renewed determination, I traced our family tree, noting events, dates, and milestones. Every connection seemed to mirror the sketches and notes on the card. The patterns were undeniable. And as the snow fell outside, blanketing our little town in white, I felt the weight of generations pressing upon me. The card wasn't just a piece of paper, it was a legacy. And that realization made the warnings and predictions it contained feel all the more urgent. This was not just a story of coincidences. It was a story of guidance, secrets, and perhaps even fate. December passed quickly, and the predictions became more specific. One evening, Emily fell and scraped her knee while playing outside. I noticed the card had a tiny sketch of a child in the snow and a note saying, "Innocence may stumble, but joy will remain." It wasn't just Emily. Small, uncanny events happened around the house. Jack received a surprise work bonus exactly as depicted in another sketch. A snowstorm that knocked out power for our entire neighborhood mirrored a drawing on the card with remarkable precision. I began to wonder, was the card merely observing, or was it influencing events somehow? Could it shape our lives, nudging us towards certain outcomes, warning us of dangers, and protecting us in its own mysterious way? The grandchildren were enthralled by the card. Emily and her older cousins would gather around me as I recounted the predictions that had come true. I could see the wonder in their eyes, the same wonder I felt when I first discovered the card. And yet, with each prediction fulfilled, the mystery deepened. One night, I carefully placed the card beside my bed. As I drifted to sleep, I felt a mixture of awe, fear, and anticipation. The card had predicted the past, the present, and perhaps even hinted at the future. I could only wonder what the remaining sketches and notes held for us, secrets yet to be revealed, lessons yet to be learned. With Christmas just days away, the card became almost a companion. I studied every line, every sketch, and every note. There were hints I hadn't noticed before, subtle details that seemed to suggest events yet to come. One sketch showed a snowy path leading to a little red house. At first, I dismissed it as decorative, but a few days later we received an invitation from a distant cousin we hadn't seen in years. They invited us to their home, which, to my shock, looked exactly like the house in the sketch. I realized then that the card had been guiding me, guiding our family, not just to watch the future, but to connect with people, to revisit the past, and to treasure moments we might otherwise forget. It wasn't just a predictor, it was a guide. As I shared the card's story with Jack and the grandchildren, I felt the warmth of the holiday spirit more deeply than ever. The card had reminded us of the importance of family, of paying attention to the small details, and of cherishing the fleeting moments that shape our lives. On Christmas Eve, as we gathered by the tree with the grandchildren, I felt a sense of peace. Every prediction, every warning, every tiny sketch on that card had led us to this moment, together, safe and full of love. Emily clutched the card and asked, "Grandma, do you think it will predict next year, too?" I smiled, realizing that the magic of the card wasn't in seeing the future, it was in teaching us to notice, to appreciate, and to hold each other close. The final note on the card, which I had not understood until that moment, read, "Family is the truest gift. Protect it, cherish it, and the future will take care of itself." And I knew then that the card's purpose had always been clear, to remind us that love, connection, and attention are the true magic of life. As we exchanged gifts and laughter filled the room, I tucked the card safely back into its envelope. I knew it would continue to guide our family in subtle ways, weaving together the past, present, and future into one beautiful story. And that, dear viewers, is the story of the Christmas card that predicted my family's future. A simple card, yes, but one filled with love, guidance, and mystery. A reminder that sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest meaning. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video, subscribe to Grandma Stories Studio, and share it with your family and friends. Who knows, maybe you have a mysterious card, letter, or note in your own home waiting to reveal its secrets too. Remember, the magic of life is in the details, the little moments, the hidden messages, and the love that binds us together. Cherish your family, pay attention to the small things, and always be open to a little mystery. Thank you for spending this time with me. Until next time, may your holidays be full of wonder, warmth, and stories that touch your heart.